Hey everybody, Chris here. Doing this quick little intro because we just got done recording the show and doing the interview for the show. The video was corrupted. I was able to get the audio to work, so everything's fine. So this is gonna be an audio only episode. I apologize for that. I know you love looking at our amazing faces, and I apologize to the two interviewees because we really wanted to get their faces out there too. But you can still hear about them, find them, waywardraven.com, and I hope you still enjoy the show. And for audio listeners, hey, no difference. Good for you. Now to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 38, The Road to San Diego Comic-Con. I am Chris. This guy here is...
I'm Mike. The road to San... Wait, this is new. What, are we going to San Diego Comic-Con? I wish.
Yeah. No, but it's almost here, so we're going to...
It's almost here. July 20th, I think?
Yeah, I think it's 20th through the 22nd.
They're gonna change the name to San Diego Movie Con pretty soon. I'm excited because we got to be getting some new stuff for, I don't know, Aquaman maybe some Aquaman footage. I'm hoping maybe
Aquaman's supposed to be there. Justice League's supposed to be there.
Like the real Aquaman, he's gonna be there.
Yeah, man, Arthur Curry, the Aquaman.
Do they have to spray him down with a hose like every hour or something? How does that work? Does he get all scaly? Like what happens?
So I know we're on a tangent already, but
yep, and we're lost. We've lost.
You don't read Aquaman as it comes out, right?
No, I read it as in the trade form.
Okay, so Aquaman 25. So for DC issue 25, they did the big anniversary issues, oversized, blah blah blah,
Blah blah blah.
So Aquaman 25 was their big push. It was at the end of like every DC book. It was the first couple pages. And I got it because, I mean, why wouldn't I get Aquaman? And first of all, some of the best art I've seen in a long time. But second of all, I think you in particular would like it because literally what's happened is Aquaman's been dethroned and thought dead. And all of Atlantis is under a shield. And he's basically being Batman, but underwater.
Oh, man. So, like, Atlantis is like Gotham now?
So he's, like, lurking in the shadows. And like everyone thinks he's dead, so they're like, "Oh, it's the spirit of the Aquaman."
That's awesome.
It sounds kind of cheesy, but like the issue was really good, and the art just puts it over the top.
That's cool. Does he wear a mask?
No, he doesn't.
What if he dressed like a fish? Like, and they called him Fishman. Like not one of those, not a clownfish, but like one of those really scary looking angler fish, and he He let out like a little angler for criminals, and they're like, "Ooh!" Like I don't know what do they use?
He just comes out of the shadows, like he just comes out, and then like the little thing goes, "Boo!" Shows his face, and like, "Oh my god!" Oh no.
Anyways, yeah, I like the first volume. That was really good. It was really political, which was, I mean, it's kind of realistic to like if you did have a city in the middle of the ocean, who does it belong? Is it like an embassy now? Like, or they had a U.S. or a U.S. embassy, and they're trying to make peace with the land dwellers. It was really good.
And this story arc, it deals with like totalitarianism and like using fear to control people, and like that, like it sticks with that whole theme because the guy that took over for Aquaman, who he thought killed him, is like this cult leader who rises to power, and he takes all of the ancient magic in Atlantis. It's like, I'm going to use all of it, and we're not doing anything with the surface dwellers. Like, everybody should be afraid of the surface dwellers. They are the enemy. It's Aquaman's great. I could talk about Aquaman all day. Aquacast.
Aquacast. Yeah, I mean, it's for like a superhero book, for one of the Rebirth books, it's a lot less superhero than you would think. People are always like, "Oh, I don't read that mainstream stuff because it's just people in capes punching each other." That's a little less of that, I think, as compared to everything else. All right, got an exciting show today. Going to talk about some movies right here, but we have an interview coming up with couple guys from Wayward Raven. It's exciting.
I pronounced the last name right. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Chris messes up. He does it. He didn't mess it up. He got it right this time, which, we're making progress here.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Okay, so we finally got a date for the Rick and... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong thing. Not Rick and Morty. I meant to say
on last week's show.
I meant to say I'm really excited for the Rick and Morty. There's a lot of stuff happening this month between Rick and Morty. Game of Thrones is coming back. Preacher's still on. It's like I thought I had time to catch up on all my TV shows, and then now everything else is starting back up. A couple movies announced. Well, Gotham by Gaslight animated movie, which was one of the first Elseworld stories. I think it's I think it was a 4-issue series. I think it was just a thick single issue one shot.
To my knowledge, it was like a prestige size.
Yeah, like an 80-page large size issue. But it's kind of like Batman during the whole Jack the Ripper style 1800s.
Yeah, steampunk Batman.
Steampunk Batman. Yeah. So that'd be cool. I wonder if that's the route they're going to go with all the Elseworld stories, though. It makes me think that, Red Sun Superman is going to be next or something.
I mean, to me, that seems like the smartest way to do this. Stop trying to do the stories like Judas Contract and Killing Joke, because they're obviously not working. And try the other really fucked up thing. That's what Marvel started to do before they shut down their animation.
Yep.
They did Planet Hulk, and they had rumors of doing Marvel Zombies, and
that would have been awesome.
All these other world stuff, and they're well, we're gonna build up the movie franchises more.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Especially, I mean, you could fit 1 to 4 issues within a single animated movie, so I think that's a good idea. All right, so Chris and I saw another indie film this week. About a high school kid just trying to make it in the world.
High school kid with a changing body.
Yeah, going through, puberty, and he's just trying to...
Man who hunts him down.
Yeah. We saw Spiderman Homecoming. I saw it in IMAX, which was awesome. I think, okay, so initial numbers out of 10. What would you give it?
I'm going with a 7.
Ooh, lowballing me here. I would have gave it an 8.5 or a 9, I think. Just for how much fun I thought. I know nothing about Spider-Man. The only things I know about Spider-Man is there's a Spider-Man. He's a boy. He's not a man. He's in high school. And I know that there's an Ultimate Spider-Man by the name of Miles Morales. That's about it.
You also know that he does everything a spider can.
Yep.
He climbs on walls.
Yep.
Swings on webs.
Yep.
I don't know the other lyrics. And you should probably look out, because here comes the Spider-Man.
So spoiler, this is completely spoiler filled, so if you don't want to hear it, skip 10 minutes ahead. But yeah, speaking of the Spider-Man theme, that was awesome how they took a symphony and did the original 60s Spider-Man theme while they did the intro. That was awesome. I thought that was really cool.
While they're doing the Marvel intro, they did it.
It was really cool. It was like do 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 do. I was like, that's the Spider-Man theme. I thought it was a lot of fun. If anything, this is how I want the Flash movie to be. It was really bright. A lot of references to other Marvel movies. I think I don't know the kid's name, but he was a good Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland was a good Spider-Man. Michael Keaton was an awesome villain. I think out of the Marvel movies, like I think Winter Soldier is probably my favorite villain so far in the movies, but I think he's one of my favorite villains so far. I think one of the villains they've done well between his motivations and what he wants to destroy. He doesn't really want to destroy anything. He just wanted to make money. But yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts on it? Let's hear what you have to say.
I had a lot of fun too. I, for the most part, really enjoyed it. First of all, like, big minuses for me, like, they never touched upon certain powers like spider sense.
Yeah, I was waiting for the spider sense to happen. I wanted it to be like, you know, never happened.
Yeah, I liked how they didn't do an origin story, but there's one line in there that explains his whole origin, and it catches you up. It's so what happened? I got bit by a spider. Can I get bit by a spider? No, a spider's dead. We'll move on.
Yeah, that was it.
Like,
yeah.
I agree with you. I love Michael Keaton. He's up there with some of my favorite Marvel villains right now. Vulture was done really well. The look was so perfect. Like, he looks so scary. And
yeah, it was awesome.
Freaky. My issues come in. I don't think that this is a movie was head over heels better than like the other Spider-Man movies. I think it's
definitely not. Yeah,
it's definitely a step up, but it wasn't like. And this is a set of expectations that is my problem, not the movies. But I went in there like, oh, this is gonna fucking blow away the other movies, and didn't.
Me too. That. Yeah.
And honestly, Iron Man was another issue I had with it. Like,
yeah.
I think I said it when we talked about the trailer initially, like a year ago. But the line where he goes like, "If you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it." It's like, motherfucker, you are just a suit.
You're literally nothing else. I know you got depressed and you Iron Man 3, you didn't have your suit, but yeah, that was kind of bullshit. I'm like, the rich guy talking to him from the suit.
The first credit sequence made me really happy. I hope that's where they go with the next movie, because I mean, I don't know if you know or not, but that was Scorpion that he was talking to.
Oh, okay. So I have no idea who that is. Who is that? A villain?
He's a villain. He dresses up in a giant green scorpion suit, and he has a mechanical tail that's just like deadly as shit.
Oh. I think I know that. Okay, so here's what all I know is this. This movie made me want to read Spider-Man comics. So where would I start? Who if I'm a new person coming in that wants to read Spider-Man comics, where would you suggest, what trade paperback would I start with?
Well, I'm going to piss off someone that you know very deeply that goes to our comic shop.
Yeah,
this was not a Peter Parker movie.
Yeah.
This was a Miles Morales movie. They stole so much from Miles Morales' story and just added Peter's name on top of it.
Yeah.
So if you like this Spider-Man, I would suggest going back to Ultimate Comics and just starting with Miles Morales and reading through, because there's not that much there. I mean, there's not that many comics there. There's probably like 6 or 7 years worth of comics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this story comes from.
Okay.
If you want like true Spider-Man Peter Parker books, you're talking like Kraven's Last Hunt was probably like the biggest storyline he's ever had, and I'm sure there's Spider-Man aficionados that could give you so many more, but that would be the one I would say that you have to read if you're going to read any. But if you are looking for this particular story, just go and read Miles Morales, because this should have been a Miles Morales movie.
My only problem with the movie was like I didn't get enough Donald Glover. Like, he was awesome.
Yeah,
he killed it. And I'm guessing when he mentioned his nephew in the movie, is that Miles Morales?
I'm guessing.
Was he talking? Okay. Miles Morales is the other Spider-Man, for anybody that doesn't know, who is he's a black kid. So that's why I think when he mentions his nephew.
Well, yeah, the quick synopsis of Miles is that in the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker dies by the hand of the Punisher, and Miles Morales' uncle, who Donald Glover plays in the movie, gets his hands on a top-secret spider who ends up biting Miles, and he becomes Spider-Man. But he has different power sets. Like he has Venom Pinch, and he can turn invisible because he can camouflage with things.
Yeah.
He has some different things, but yeah, he's half black, half Latino, and it takes place in kind of like Harlem-esque New York.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's a little bit of a different take on it.
Yeah, I obviously don't know anything about the character besides that he's Spider-Man. But yeah, so I am kind of upset that they wouldn't make Donald Glover Miles if they're going down that route with making him the uncle. Like obviously, if they do a Miles movie, he's going to be in it a lot. I think what they're setting us up for is like the second Spider-Man is going to be like a team up between Miles and him. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know.
See, I think that it's just going to be fan service. I don't think they're ever going to cash in on it.
Yeah, you think so?
It's just like, yeah, look, it's Miles or Miles' uncle or whoever. Like, hey, you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm most disappointed on is that now Sony wants to do an animated Spider-Man movie, which I don't fucking understand for 1 second.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, they should do Miles, and they're not. They're just going to do Peter Parker again.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the movie had a lot of good stuff. Chris, obviously, there was a lot of Captain America. They did this funny thing with Captain America, like, you know, he's like the voice of good and reason in the Marvel universe. So like when they have gym class, they put out this VHS of like Captain America talking to the class, like, you need to stay fit, kids. And like the teacher's like, I'm pretty sure he's on the run right now from the, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a terrorist.
I'm pretty sure he's a terrorist or something like that. But I still got to show these movies. Really funny stuff.
And that eventually leads to, in my opinion, the best end credit sequence.
Yeah, where Captain America shows up and he starts talking about patience and how, you know, it was super meta because like we waited the whole credit scene and it was absolutely nothing.
It's like patience is important for any citizen or soldier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wait and it just feels like it wasn't worth it.
But yeah, it was. I think overall it was good, but like you said, so for me it was like it wasn't anything new of a Marvel movie. I expect a certain quality from Marvel movies, and it met that expectation. I walked out of the movie like, yep, that was it. That was a Marvel movie. It was good.
Yeah.
But to say that it was like better than the Tobey, like the first couple, yeah, I mean, even all three, like I didn't, you know, when I was younger, I didn't mind the whole emo Spider-Man scene. Like now it's like everybody shits on it. But the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans they're good. Like the first couple are good.
The second one especially is fantastic.
Yeah. And you know, the newer Spider-Man with the kid with the big hair who looks like Jimmy Neutron. Those are good too. But
I was of the mind when they announced this whole thing that the deal went through that Marvel should have gotten Miles and they should have continued Amazing Spider-Man and just done their universe that way.
Yeah.
And that way Sony gets a bite and they're like, oh yeah, you do Miles, like we just care about Peter. And everyone wins in that way because Marvel gets their Spider-Man and Sony gets to take a piece of it. And Sony can still make Spider-Man movies because those Amazing Spider-Man movies weren't bad either.
Yeah.
Like I thought, I can't remember. Oh, Andrew Garfield. I thought Andrew Garfield did a great Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He was just a pretty bad Peter Parker.
Yep. Yeah, he was.
Which is tough because it's the whole Batman thing. Like you're not really playing Batman, you're playing
Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. That was my opinion of it. But still, I think the movie as a whole is good. It's worth seeing. People enjoy it.
Yeah, and I don't know much about the Shocker, but there's a bunch of, like, he's the villain that keeps reoccurring as a different person, right? Is that what happens to him? Like, he gets defeated and it's a different guy that comes back, or?
Yeah, see, I don't know too much about Shocker's origin. So.
But, like, in the movie, he gets defeated, like, twice, and it's a different, you know, the one guy...
He gets defeated, then they kill him, and then they just hands the gauntlets to someone else.
Yeah, someone else. And he had, like,
Shocker now.
The Shocker, and he had, like, the yellow sleeve, which was, like, part of his costume. Obviously, you're not going to give him the whole costume, but...
Actually, that scene, now that we're talking about it, I really loved, because it was kind of an homage to how comics works. Like, someone dies, and someone else just picks up the mantle.
Yeah, he just picked up the weapon, like, oh, this is pretty cool.
I was like, yeah, you're the Shocker now. It's like, okay.
But yeah, I recommend it. Go see. I mean, obviously, if you're into Marvel movies, this is the movie for you. All right, so some TV stuff here. Live action Jetsons show.
Yeah. So so I do the show notes here, so I'm the one that added this in.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of this.
I'm a huge fan of the Jetsons. I don't know why, but I love the Jetsons. And I'd heard about this because there's rumors that they want to do an animated movie, but they want to do it like Pixar style, which I'm all for.
Oh, yeah.
The Jetsons do it. But then there's this rumor going around that they're going to do a live-action Jetsons TV show.
Oh, man.
And I basically want to voice my concern on that because I don't think the Jetsons work as a live-action TV
show. Yeah, I don't think so either.
But if it goes through, I'll check it out just because I love the Jetsons. But it was just kind of a weird little, like...
It was kind of how, like, when they did the Flintstones movie.
Exactly.
It just... something wasn't right. It's just something didn't really work there. I don't know. It's more of like those cartoons that, like... Especially when you don't have, like... They don't use the proper shapes of, like, normal humans, you know? And then they try to do, like, a live-action movie. You're like,
Well, there's one of those cartoons that plays with cartoon tropes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it actually doesn't even play with it. It created cartoon tropes. I mean, that was back in the day. Flintstones, Looney Tunes, Jetsons. Like, that stuff all was what was creating all that stuff. So, to bring that to live action, like, I remember watching the Flintstone movie, and he does, like, gets on his toes when he's bowling.
Oh my god, yeah.
It just came across so bad.
Yeah, and like the pedaling the car and stuff, it just didn't work. I don't know, something about it was just wrong. Castlevania on Netflix. I thought I heard that it's getting a second season, right?
It is.
Yeah. Did you watch the first season?
Yeah, I just finished it today. It's only 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking a little bit under 2 hours of your time. But 2 hours well spent.
It was good.
Yeah, they're taking on the story of Castlevania 2. So if anyone knows the Castlevania games, we'll get a little nerdy here, but it follows Simon Belmont and his fight to take down Dracula. So it starts off the season with this really, like, thick layer of anti-Christianity stuff. And, I mean, it's... Okay, first of all, the whole season's written by Warren Ellis.
Oh, wow.
So that alone's a reason to watch it, and that alone explains what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
And where the Christian church is really the enemy in this whole series. And Dracula takes in a woman to be his bride after so many years, and she teaches him all about humanity and love and blah, 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 blah. And then finally the Christian church finds her and burns her as a witch, and that's when Dracula just loses his shit. And is like, yeah, we're done here. I'm going to obliterate all of mankind. And he starts just sending different creatures to fight mankind. And that's what kind of Simon Belmont comes in, and he meets up with these people, and they can use magic, and they have to find their savior, who also happens to be a vampire, and we end up finding out it's Dracula's son. And it's all done in anime style. It's really well done, really good. The animation's smooth, the story's great, and it's because it's made and written in America. The dialogue flows much more naturally than most anime does.
Yeah, I'm going to come at you now with my sword and slice you in half.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Wait, what? I'm not
dissing on anime. I love anime, but
yeah, it
does flow much better.
I want to talk about that anime really quick. We don't talk about it a lot on here, but I do enjoy. I'm catching up on Dragon Ball Super right now, and then I'm going to catch up on the second season of Attack on Titan. But I just bought a Crunchyroll account. Well, I if you go on Crunchyroll right now, Crunchyroll is basically Netflix for anime. And if you really enjoy animes, there's a lot of cool ones on there. I think Hunter x Hunter's on there.
Not a sponsor of the show.
Yeah, and I'm just there's a you can go on, you can subscribe, you get 2 weeks free, and then you can cancel it after, like, you know, most free trials. But there's a lot of good stuff on there, and I think it's only like $5 a month or something. So I'll probably just keep paying it. when I want to watch animes because there's so much good stuff on there. Like Dragon Ball Super is caught up. There's like 95 episodes or something like that. But yeah, so cool.
Yeah, so you can get on Netflix. Highly recommend it. It does end on a cliffhanger.
Ooh,
hence season 2.
Nice. But they must have had good. It must have good ratings or good viewer numbers if it's coming back for a second season. I would think.
Yeah, or I don't know, because that company also kind of is a side story. The company that does it, they signed a deal with Netflix now, and they're also going to do like an Assassin's Creed anime. So maybe they work cheap. I mean, I don't know.
They put a lot of work into their animated stuff, though. Like I watched that first season of Voltron. It was pretty awesome. Like they took Voltron and they made it awesome. Well, I mean, it was awesome, but I mean, like the plot. I mean, nobody watched Voltron for the plot. I mean, you watch Voltron for the big robot. And that's about it.
Well, yeah, and I see so many people dissing on Netflix for their anime stuff, but a manga that I really got into was Seven Deadly Sins.
Yep.
And when Netflix announced they were doing it, I was so happy, and I watched it and I loved it. I think that Seven Deadly Sins is a very underrated anime as well as manga right now, and that one follows more of the typical anime tropes.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the lead character is a pervert. And
yep.
The big eyes and all that kind of stuff, and so I think that Netflix does a better job in their animation than people give them credit for.
Another thing we haven't talked about, they released 1 or 2 more trailers for Death Note, which is coming to Netflix as a movie. And whether it's good or bad, I don't know. They're definitely changing a lot of things. Some of the stuff in the trailer for the Death Note movie doesn't look like it'll play well as it did in the anime. But the one thing that's for certain is Willem Dafoe is playing the demon.
Then he will be perfect.
The Shinigami, they call it, yeah. And his voice, and they've already showed some glimpses of him. He's gonna nail that role. He was like born to play this role. It's awesome. So that's coming to Netflix too. But yeah, so Preacher episode 3, man, wow. Every time I watch Preacher, I start shooting out texts to people that I'm watching Preacher, and it's my favorite show. And this is only like 5 minutes into the episode. This one had a really awesome fight scene. You see Jesse Custer take on like 5 or 6 guys at once.
Yeah, he kicks ass.
That was awesome. The choreography for that was great. It was so good. Basically, they go to New Orleans to find God because he likes jazz. So they're just in New Orleans, and
they found God.
Yeah, they found God. Yeah, that whole they go to this bar and they're like, "Oh, you want to find God? Yeah, all of you? Yes, all of us." They bring him down, and there's like this guy in like a dog suit with a collar, and you pay money, and you could like throw toys at him. It was very strange. It was very Seth Rogen thing. But
I love how later on in the episode they throw back to it.
Yeah.
They walk around and be like, "Did anybody help me find God?" And the woman's like, "Yeah, there's a bar." And I was like, No,
I've already been there. Yeah, then you find out the whole tulip thing, what's going on with that. She gets caught at the end of the episode. But there's something more important for the comic book fans. We finally see Erstar. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty big moment in the whole secret society there. That are also looking for God as well. I couldn't believe they did it so early. Like that was awesome. They're straight from the comic books. The white suits, the red tie, missing an eye. It's awesome.
No, you're the bigger Preacher fan than I am.
Yeah.
Is that the secret society that has the like the great such and such nephew of Jesus Christ? Yeah,
I think that's what. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, and I was watching. I was like, if they fucking do that, I'm gonna lose my mind.
And they're called. I can't remember the name. I got to read Preacher. I think they're called the Grail or something like that. Or I can't remember.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing in Preacher that sticks out to me the most was that moment when they're like, no, there's still a descendant of Jesus Christ, and we have him, and they've like kept it pure.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Really messed up.
Fucked up.
Yep. So that I'm excited. They keep introducing these awesome characters from the comic, and I just can't get enough of that show. This season's been 10 out of 10 for me so far. Like it's been everything I've wanted it to. Anything I've wanted the Preacher show to be. It's been. I can't get more excited about this show.
And I want to throw a theory out there, and I'm not going to take credit for this theory. I heard it somewhere else, but it makes complete sense when I heard it. The theory is that God is the drummer in the jazz bands that we see in every episode.
And like he's a different drummer or the same drummer?
No, I saw pictures of it too. If you go back, the first strip club they go to in episode, I think it was 2.
Oh, it has the same drummer.
Yeah, and then when they go to the second bar, or the bar at the end of the 3rd episode, and he recommends that one song, there's a drummer there.
Yeah.
The guy it's either the same guy or they look exactly the same, but...
Or the budget only calls for like one jazz drummer.
Possibly.
Because it's probably hard to come back
around. Yeah. He's been finding God over and over again, and God's watching him.
Yeah.
Through this person. It was an interesting theory.
Huh. That is pretty interesting. Yeah, but I mean that show I can't praise it enough. So
we need theme music for the next one.
Yeah, I know. Chris and I are continuing our marathon of 60s Batman. Season 1, episode 3 and 4, Revolving the Penguin. I don't have the episode titles here.
Oh, man.
But anyways, these 2 episodes revolve all around Penguin. And what other business for Penguin to own besides an umbrella shop?
I know, perfect.
Which is like the income for that. There's no way you could keep a successful umbrella shop open. It's a good. I mean, the first half, obviously, Bruce Wayne gets captured, and the second half, they break out and hide in statues to try to catch the Penguin. And he thinks they're in the statues, but they weren't in the statues the whole time. They were waiting for. The whole like we went up to you the whole time.
The Penguin gives him an umbrella and calls it the Bat Umbrella.
Yeah, the Bat Umbrella.
Yeah, his whole plan is like we're gonna give him this bugged umbrella, and Batman's gonna look at it, and he's gonna give us ideas for heists. And it's like, okay, I mean, it works.
Yeah,
it works. So they do the heist and everything, and Batman thinks that he's got him, but really he's prepared for him. And that first heist leads to our ongoing segment, which is Bat Utility of the Week, which is the Bazooka.
Oh, so
they use a Bazooka to shoot a rappel wire up and climb the side of the building.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. I like that new segment. Last week would be the Bat Hook, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The Bazooka, yeah. But, yeah, so, when you think about it, like, Every time they leave most of these villains are terrible. Even if it's not Riddler, they leave clues behind. And Batman and Robin start riffing off each other, like in the Batcave, of like, well, maybe they could be stealing this prized jewel. Oh, maybe they could be robbing this bank. And Penguin's just like, oh, well, now they're going to give us all these ideas for expensive things to rob. But yeah, I think the first half is pretty hilarious though. Like Penguin shoots this giant umbrella in the middle, and they actually built this giant umbrella. Like it's the size of a street block. That's like they built this for the show. And Batman like throws his rope, and she's like he climbs, swings himself up to the top. But you could tell whenever he does these types of things, you could always see the wire like attached to his suit. But yeah, so Bruce Wayne, he shows up. This is like the first interaction where we see Bruce Wayne like doing some detective work on his own. And he goes to plant a listening bug device that actually looks like a bug. He goes to plant it in the Penguin shop, and when he sets it down, this alarm goes off that senses bugs. And he captures Bruce Wayne. And then he gets out with like this lighter that has like everlasting butane in it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I was confused on that, but I was like, whatever, he got out of it.
Yeah, he got out of it. Like they don't need to explain it. Yeah, so the ridiculousness is there still.
My two things that I really like stuck out to me was one. There's a moment that made me call back to last week's episode of the show when Alfred's like cleaning the reactor thing.
Yeah.
And Robin's like, "Be safe up there." And I was like, "He just killed somebody in there."
Yeah, I know. He just killed somebody. I forgot about that. Yeah. And
then if you look around Penguin's lair, I love it so much because there's a penguin that's an alarm.
Yeah.
Then there's a cuckoo clock, but it's a penguin in an igloo, and it comes out and just like shouts the time at you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I just love those little.
Burgess Meredith he's awesome. Yeah. He took that character and ran with it.
So next, do you have the titles for next week's episodes?
No, I don't.
I know that they star the Joker, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, the Joker. It's the first time we get to see Cesar Romero with his painted over mustache, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So next week we're gonna do season 1, episodes 5 and 6.
Yes, it's gonna be good.
Along.
And HD goodness.
And with that, we're gonna take a break and talk to the guys at Wayward Raven Comics, and we'll be right back. I just fucked it up again. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We have 2 special guests with us today from Wayward Raven Comics. We have Alexander Sapunzis.
Yes!
And Mark Frankel.
He's actually been pronouncing Alex's last name for the last 37 minutes just to make sure he gets it right?
I was 90% sure he's gonna get it wrong too. It's just he can't help it sometimes.
I'm not doing what I did last week.
The problem is he hasn't finished his beer yet. It's like once he finishes the beer, then he starts pronouncing names right. It's weird. It's like the opposite effect on him.
Yeah, man. Helps me focus. So,
all right,
we have you
Let's
guys.
Get right into it.
We met you guys at Comic-Con with 2 N's, everybody.
2 N's.
Well, I mean, we could start with the comics, but we'll start with the important part. You were giving away beer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just finished transferring some today from the primary to the secondary fermenter.
There you go. I'm sure Mike wants to talk about that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's funny how we came upon your booth at Comic-Con. It was in the middle
last week.
Yeah, we told the story on the show last week. Chris and I had this weird interaction. You guys were in like the crime alley of the Comic-Con, the back alley area, and I remember we were looking at pop figures because everybody's falls for buying pop figures now, and we started looking at him, and some girl comes up to Chris and starts talking to him about his shirt, and it wasn't just like, oh hey, that's a nice shirt. It was like, oh hey, I really, I have that shirt, blah blah blah, and Chris was just like, thanks. And I'm like, no, dude, no, she was hitting on you. And he was like, what? No, she was? And because Chris is in a relationship now, he doesn't notice these things. But I notice these things too much. So whenever a girl comes up to me, I'm always like, oh, she was hitting on me. It's like, no, she just wanted to know what time it was. But then in that moment, we kind of forgot what the hell of the situation was going on because we looked at your booth and we saw beer. And Chris is like, Mike, he hit me on the arm and he's like, beer. So obviously you're not a brewer. You're writer, illustrators, and you do some comics. But let's dive into that really quick. So how did that go at the con? I mean, giving away the beer, and did it bring a lot of people or?
We've been doing it for a while now, actually. I've been homebrewing for the better part of the last 2 years, and
very cool.
We had this bright idea at one point. We're like, let's give some beer away. What better way to promote comics, right? I think they go together hand in hand. Beer. And comics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we've been brewing. Yeah, I think that every time we do a con too, we make a point of finding the best craft beer place and going out and throwing a few back on unfortunately, a lot of times it happens on night one. So day two, we kind of look a little.
Day two doesn't go so well.
Less social.
Yeah. That's how it goes for me when I travel. I always look for like a brewery or something. That's cool that you incorporated it in, like, with the comics, and you get people to. I mean, obviously, it's not really hard to get people at a con to buy comics. I mean, they're there to, it's cool to get people involved though that aren't really into comics. I think a lot more people are into beer. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to sell somebody a beer.
Yeah. So
To
do
be
you guys?
fair, it worked on me.
So, do you brew a different beer each con, or try to like get something out different for each con, or you have one for the year that you bring to cons? How does that work?
We've got a couple. The most recent one we did when we were at Comic-Con, that was the Hefeweizen that we brewed.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorites because it's one of those ones that like kind of everybody likes.
Yep.
Everybody likes a little bit malty. Kind of the beer you just came in off the beach, or we're sitting on the beach, and you want to throw that back because it's been hot out. So we use that one a lot, but we've done a Dunkelweizen when we were at. That one's fun too. It's a little bit darker, a little maltier. Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
But we've done that, and then we did a mystery beer 2 cons ago when we were at
That's
5
awesome.
Points. I had all this stuff, and like it was a lot of one-off stuff. It's like stuff that I had brewed, and like I had a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah.
I had some pumpkin beer that kind of needed to be drank soon. And
You got to get rid of that before the season's over.
Yeah, exactly. People start looking at you funny in the summer, like, why do you have pumpkin beer?
Yeah, they don't want to drink it. There's only you only get like a good month and a half maybe of like people that want pumpkin beer. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Well, that's cool. You got to incorporate it. All right, so let's talk about Wayward Raven. I mean, you guys, you seem to have a few titles under your name, and you keep expanding. So let's you guys introduce yourselves. What do you do? So Mark, you're the writer, right?
Cool. Yep. I'm the writer, and then I think my part in this venture a lot of times is a lot of the operational stuff. It's in some part working with the artists, finding them, negotiating stuff like that, finding the right books for them. But we kind of work in conjunction with that. Like Josh, who's not here right now, he does a lot of the creative piece as well, and kind of walking people through things. And Alex has a piece of that as an artist also. So Josh and I collaborate on some writing. There's some stuff that I write alone. Alex and I collaborate on some writing too with Damn Heroes. So it's a pretty collaborative venture, although I think we all kind of have some fairly set roles too.
Yeah, and Damn Heroes. So I love webcomics. I'm a huge Cyanide and Happiness fan. So when I saw Damn Heroes and it's a free webcomic, that's awesome. So how long you guys been doing that? Has that been going on for a while?
Lost you.
Oh, okay, sorry. We're talking about Damn Heroes. So when did that start? Or
there we go.
Okay, you got me back yet?
Yeah, got you back.
Okay. So I noticed you guys have a webcomic called Damn Heroes, and I'm all for free webcomics. And so how did that start, and how long has it been going on?
I'll let Alex tell this, but yeah, go for it, dude.
Yeah, dude. That's kind of how I actually got involved in this whole venture too. Because
okay.
So I met Mark about 5 or 6 years ago now. Wow, it's been that long.
It feels like so much longer.
The way the story goes is in Mark's day job, he's a talent recruiter for media company.
Okay.
My day job is I'm an engineer. So we met when he interviewed me for a job for our day jobs, basically. And I walk into his office. Now the best part is this is in Midtown Manhattan. We're in the same building as DC Comics.
Oh wow.
So I get into the lobby and I see DC Comics is there. I'm like, oh, cool. I wasn't interviewing for DC Comics. I was a company. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
The elevator stops on the fifth or sixth floor. It opens up for somebody to get out. And I see this huge mural of DC artwork. and I'm just like,
man.
oh my god, I can't concentrate on this interview that I'm doing because I'm so worried about I'm in the same building as DC.
Yeah.
I get into the office. Mark brings me into his office, and as I sit down, I see he's got this huge Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman poster, 52 poster. He's got what was it, Sandman poster?
Sandman.
He's got
man.
Joker and Long Halloween boxed sets of the comics and toys in his desk. And I'm like, am I interviewing for this company, or is this what the hell's going on?
That is awesome. I bet that helped with the interview too. I'm like you sit down, you're like, oh wow, I'm just like sitting in my bedroom right now. This is great.
Well, that's the thing. We spent the entire interview talking comics.
Yeah.
And then I go to meet with the other engineering people, and at that point, I'm in such a fanboy moment. Actually the head of engineering. He had like Star Wars stuff in his office. I'm like, I need to work.
Oh hell yeah!
I can work here.
That's awesome.
So I ended up getting the job, not just because of my initial conversation with Mark, but I guess they really liked my engineering chops. So since Mark and I kind of became fast friends from that interview, we would start going to lunch together. We'd start talking, mostly comics. I find out Mark's a writer. He finds out I'm an artist. Yeah. And we start talking about just silly, lunchtime banter about superheroes and coming up with the dumbest, silliest ideas.
Yeah.
Which actually evolved to Damn Heroes.
Awesome.
Fast forward to I find out that Mark him and Josh were going to be appearing at New York Comic Con together under a different name. Back then it was Aegis Pub. And then we got the idea of starting to do Damn Heroes. Kind of, I forgot the initial spark of that. It was just leading up from all that banter we had. We started doodling around, and within the lead up to New York Comic Con, we start putting out about like a week's worth of Damn Hero strips.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
We're basically at the show with maybe one or two of Josh and Mark's comics, and literally printed out strips of Damn Heroes, like the first 10 or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's evolved from that. I mean, yeah.
And it's like a parody of typical superhero stuff, right? Is that?
It started off as just the idea of the average a day in the life of a town of superheroes, where the one guy who's not a superhero is basically the butt of all the jokes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With the idea of like the whole overly righteous superheroes. What's the dumbest thing you can get arrested in a town full of superheroes? Going over the speed limit, 5 miles. That was the premise. 5 miles over the speed limit in a town full of superheroes. Now he's got 5 years of community service. It started off from that whole thing of like the worst punishments we can imagine upon him, and then started introducing a lot of the pop culture stuff that we grew up with, or like whatever might be somewhat relevant. Movies, TV. We've even had like Snoopy and Piggy the Brain crossover stuff in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's evolved more towards pop culture or parodying pop culture. But whenever we get back to the the main storyline, it's still of like, what's the everyday dumb stuff that'll happen? But again, in the context of overly righteous superheroes. Yeah.
And we enjoy thinking that second book we put out is when we started actually appearing ourselves in it.
Oh, really?
Very meta.
We couldn't help but break the fourth wall. We just, you know what I mean? Like, we're like, all right.
You had to go all Grant Morrison on it. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, that's obviously something you have fun with. And then you guys have a couple other. How many more titles do you have that you're doing right now? Mark, you're writing.
So actually, this is really cool. We have, I should say, actually, we're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con next. God, is it a week from now?
I saw that.
Something like that. Yeah. And at the time, we're actually going to have 3 brand new things with us, which is really, really awesome. We're excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
One's a one shot. I'll talk about that in a sec. 2 is issue 2 of the committee. But 3, the thing I really, really want to mention, because I'm really excited about, is signed C. We're completely done with it. So we had put out the first 3 books And then what we did is we started to look at it and say, we really want to roll this up into a trade. And so we actually then completed the last 3 issues because we're big fans of stuff ending.
Yeah.
We don't just drag it on and on.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, you're resurrected again.
Yeah, this 4-part series turned into 7 parts because we've been selling so many issues.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Let's bring them back again for another 570 book run.
So it's like Injustice Year 5 or whatever they're on now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're excited though because the whole thing's rolled up into a trade, and we're going to have it there for the first time before anybody else can see. Basically, I think we've maybe had some sneak peeks at issues 4 and 5 for folks, but basically it's done, and
it's awesome.
We're pretty pumped about it. Yeah.
So is this your first time going to San Diego? Because Chris and I have always talked about going to San Diego, but it's the trip to getting over to California and stuff. It's a little more than just driving to New York City to go to New York Comic Con. But
the closest I ever got was I literally drove by as they were setting up because I was leaving San Diego the day before preview night.
Oh man,
I was in time for a wedding.
Oh wow, that's kind of suck. You're just
I took a sad photo. The closest I'm ever getting to San Diego.
Well, here you go. Now you're going to be there. That's got to be exciting. So it's your first time there?
First time at the con, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I've never actually been to San Diego. I've been to California a few times, but
okay.
San Diego itself. So literally everything's going to be brand new to us. I think we're going to show up and just, we actually made a point of we'll be there on Tuesday because we figure we need a day and a half just to figure out what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a good idea because I know like Chris and I, especially when Comic-Con where we met you guys it was at Hartford Excel Center. So the second year there, we're like, okay, we know the layout, we know what we're usually going to do. And then the third year they went and swapped venues on us. And I was like, oh shit. So we got to redo all of that. But yeah, I could just imagine San Diego. It's cool to see that you guys are going. That there's going to be an indie comic presence because I always hear that San Diego's geared more towards movies and all these huge movie announcements. So
yeah,
I can imagine it's going to be packed, even more packed. Like every year, I think I hear that like New York Comic Con beat out San Diego for the amount of people that came through, and then San Diego beat out the amount of people that New York had. So there's going to be a lot of people. That's exciting for you guys.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped. I mean, just trying to figure it all out is kind of where we're at right now as to what to do when and how and where. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I can't wait to actually get out there. And I mean, you guys see me. I love getting out and pitching and talking to people so much so that I think Alex gets annoyed. But
you guys were really good at the one thing I'm always critical about some indie creators for was that we joke around. They're like, oh, we saw beer and we got there, but you were really you were standing up and you were attentive to us when we walked by and actually called us out come on, come over here, come on. And I see so many just kind of sit there and nobody wants
put their head down. Don't look at you.
What is it? Nobody talking to me with their heads down. It's like when people are excited about their projects, that's when we get excited. We want to talk about them too. Yeah. So
it's amazing that people feel like they look like they don't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And
So I just got done reading the 3 issues of Horseman, which I really enjoyed.
Nice.
And then the first issue of Co-Signed, and I need to go online and get the other ones from you guys.
Cool.
Are those both the same artist, or are those different?
No, we've had a variety of artists actually. So Signed is 100% Wayne Brown, pencils and inks. We've had a couple different colorists. Most recently, the issues you haven't seen yet. The last 3 are all done by Chun Lin. And then I want to say Martin Silva. I'm missing someone who did some of the colors. And actually, I think all the letters were done by Taylor Esposito. I could be wrong. No, I'm sorry. Carrie Kelly did some of them, and then Taylor Esposito did half. Yeah. Alex should know better because he's put the damn issue together most recently.
And
Yeah, pretty much. I think I've had to go back and forth on like just making sure I didn't butcher anybody's name or no.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to take Taylor's name and write his credits in Comic Sans just to mess with him.
And then all the stuff you mentioned for San Diego, I know you got your focus on those books that you're releasing. Is there more Horsemen coming?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. I actually we found this really interesting artist Hugo he did the colors for the Ascendant 3. And I was so impressed by his colors that we immediately signed him up to do 4 and 5 a Horseman. So he's in process with issue 4 a Horseman, and actually I really, looking at what he did with it, I don't think I could be happier. I mean, it really. I wish I had something to show you now, but it just even some of the early stuff he's gotten in the first 10 pages or so, I'm just really psyched about. And so he's doing that, and Pedro's in the process. He's about 5 or 10 pages into issue 5, and once issue 5 is done, it's done. I did the same thing we did with Simon. We rolled up in a trade, and it goes out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is
I
there,
think
from a
go ahead.
writer's perspective, obviously these are only two books I've read, but is there a strong interest for you in mythology and then kind of fucking a little bit with that mythology? Because that seems to be what both those books are about, is Horseman taking Christian mythology and making it sci-fi, and Signed taking Greek mythology and kind of bringing it to the modern day.
Yeah. I love mythology. I grew up on it. I mean, it's just, I'm the kid who you'd find himself in the library poking through the mythology books and reading the different,
Nerd!
Yeah.
Geek! Shun the geek!
Yeah.
Those books don't even have pictures. What are you doing?
Just blocks and blocks of text.
Yeah, oh my god.
Some of it in some really nice scroll work.
Yeah.
I read the Iliad in the original Greek.
Oh, man. Can't top that.
Oh, I actually did read the Aeneid in Latin.
Wow. Well, that's. I got through the Odyssey, but if I ever need a refresher on the Odyssey, I'll just I'll watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou, because that usually catches me up on the whole thing. That's awesome, though. I mean, the lore and the mythology. So it's like you like to put a new twist on that. Is there anything else that, like, any other mythologies that you want to tackle that you haven't done yet, or?
So not. I'm trying to think of other stuff that we have coming down the pike.
There's without giving too much away, the third book we're gonna have at in San Diego is a one shot. It's another sci-fi book that dabbles in mythology. I won't say anything more on that because it's like spoilerific. But
yeah.
There is a very interesting take on mythology from having looked through that. And I mean, Mark, Josh, and myself, we're really big into mythology. Either if you take superheroes even as mythology, we're really big into it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everything we have pretty much has some taste of that in it.
Yeah.
Some element, I think which is actually, Alex had mentioned earlier that when we first started out, we were Aegis Pub.
Yeah.
And just in case you're curious, that's spelled Aegis. And everyone would come up to us and go, "So what's Aegis?"
Yeah. Oh my god.
What's Aegis?
Aegis.
Aegis.
What the hell's an Aegis?
And I literally once got a thing in the mail that said it was trying to sell me bar glasses. It basically
Oh my
said, "Hey,
god. Yeah.
Aegis Pub."
Oh my god.
And we're like, all right,
That's got to be the name, right?
Then you had to change it to an easy name that everyone could pronounce, Wayward Raven. You can't mess that up. You really can't.
Yeah, well,
You'd be surprised.
you can. Let's just say it's happened.
Why?
Yeah.
It's not as easy as pronouncing Alex's last name, but
Yeah.
Which I'm sure Chris already forgot, so we won't ask him again.
I'm not going there.
Well,
it's
in a way of self.
It's not so nice.
I actually have a pronunciation guide of my last name on the website, so
Oh wow, perfect. There we go.
I'm considerate.
So one of my favorite things in any media, but comics especially, that I don't see a lot of people tackle is Christian mythology. At least in the way that, like, other than a strict adaptation, which, I mean, people will probably laughing, but you look through previews and there literally are strict adaptations of the Bible in comic form. So, what brings you to that? Like, what was the idea for Horseman that was like, I want to take this idea from Christian mythology and lore and, you know, do this different thing with it?
Sure. Well, actually, I think a lot of it really stems from it. The central issue with Horseman is free will versus fate and destiny, right? Yep. And so I think those concepts go back quite a ways, right? And so we looked at that and we really enjoyed that, and we enjoyed actually making it literal. So, you know, literally making fate and destiny black and white, right? And somewhat one dimensional, and having the Horseman in color and you know, having that free will. So that's where the story stemmed from, and I think using the Horseman as that narrative, you know, it really was. It was a nice vehicle that people respond well to, that they understand. They can latch onto it and pick up the story pretty quickly, and then. Who the hell doesn't like cybernetic horses, right? So, you know.
Yeah, that's badass.
Every time
I want one.
With Horseman, I kept like hearing Manowar in my head.
The only way I'm going to read it when I get my issues is listening to Metallica, Four Horsemen. So
yeah,
just on a loop.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the books that really got my attention. I love the whole mythology behind the Four Horsemen. I think it's just badass. But you want to give us a quick rundown of Signed and what that book is, or?
Yeah, sure. So I always tell people, you know, myth, magic, mayhem. Imagine a world in which the gods didn't die out; they just got day jobs. So. C happens to be a talent agent, and her client goes missing. And without giving away too much about her, you know, she's more than just your typical talent agent, and is very willing to kind of have this sort of mythological detective story where she crosses a lot of known realms and digs up some of your favorite characters from mythology and whatnot, and kind of pursues that narrative to hopefully find her charge, if at all possible.
Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, this is cool to hear that. Like, I mean, because obviously Chris and I have day jobs as well. That a couple guys, you know, with regular day jobs, are pursuing this. You know, it started off as like a hobby or something, and then you know it starts to get bigger and bigger, and now you guys are going to San Diego Comic-Con. It's got to be awesome. It's got to be a lot to balance, though, between what you're doing, you know, working the day job and trying to do this, right? It's got to...
It was definitely easier when Mark and I worked in the same office together because basically, I mean, with his job as a recruiter, he had a physical office space, whereas I worked at in a little cube farm. So I could just kind of pop in there for 5 minutes, like, hey, script you wrote. Here are my suggestions. Here's the sketches. You know what's up? What can we do about this? Like, oh, we have a con coming up. Let's grab lunch and talk about it. Now it's you know, we've got a couple of rivers between us, so it's a little more challenging. You know, we've also both got like family lives and stuff, so a lot of it's.
we had this great April Fool's joke the one time where
that was the best.
We're sitting there. We went, you know, I had this idea. Why don't we switch roles? You write it, I draw it, right? And we literally happened to be a day where one of the women in the office had one of her kids there, who had you know, the 64 pack of Crayola color crayons. I pulled a line, you know.
We got some
lined paper out of a notebook and.
Oh man, that's awesome!
It was great. Yeah, it was. It was as spectacularly awful as you can imagine it.
Yeah, it's not much better than I can do, but it's you could probably call it art, right? It was maybe. One other thing about what you guys, I mean, your mission statement or whatever on your website. I just wanted to bring that up because, like, when you say, most importantly, like like you said, you need to complete your books, but when you say a character's dead, the character's dead. So you're trying to get away from those typical tropes that you see with comics, or the typical like, oh, the character's dead, but until he comes back in the next story arc or something like that. So it's cool that you're trying to avoid that type of those things that we see in everyday books.
Yeah.
Although we do make fun of that in Damn Heroes.
Yes.
Back of the first book, we kind of have like a line of superheroes at a bar.
Yeah.
Like one's like, "Hey, I thought you died." He's like, "No, man, parallel dimensions." And like all these superheroes who kind of look like established superheroes who died and come back with more and more ridiculous, resurrections.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the way at the end of the bar is death. The Grim Reaper just like, just give me another.
That's awesome.
Shut up and keep them
It's
coming.
like anytime someone dies in DC Comics, they just happen to be, they have to die right next to a Lazarus pit if it's like anyone dealing with Batman. It's like, oh, he's dead. Oh, but he fell down next to a Lazarus pit, so I can just throw him in there and
these things are everywhere.
I thought there was only one left.
Take me to your nearest Lazarus pit. I think I might die any moment now.
Actually, I think we can play around with that too. With where like Dr. Edge like kills Captain Righteous, and he's like, "Yeah, it's like the 5th time I've done it this week," or something like that.
Well, I really did that with the end of the season with Gotham. I think it was this season. But like, they show us a Lazarus pit finally, but then the way they resurrect people is they drink the water. So you have this huge well of magical water, but you don't even have to throw the person in it. They just drink it and it's fine. It's like, oh, so now you really have an unlimited supply of not killing anybody on the show.
Lazarus pit bottled water.
Yeah.
I think we need to have that at the next con.
You got to name one of the beers like Lazarus, Lazarus Brew or something.
Oh, there we go. We'll have to make that a barley wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like 12%. Oh my god, you'll feel resurrected.
I'm a new man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would probably drink that for sure. That's cool though. I mean, so are you guys have pull lists right now? Are you reading anything right now, or do you have time for that?
I actually have been reading. So the funny part is I haven't been reading comics lately. I've actually been reading. Damn it! Why can't I spit out the title right now?
The Barbie story.
Yeah, you're gonna make me go get it. The Blood Mirror by Brent Weeks. Here, I have it right here. Oh. Yay! Free promotion for someone I don't know. Good book though.
Is it is it a mythology book? I've never heard of that. Because I don't read novels. Obviously, I need pictures of my books, but makes it easier.
It's interesting. It's fantasy. It's probably book 4 in the series at this point, but the central crux of it is that the folks who the clucks, yes,
the clucks. It's a book about chickens.
The clucks are the issue, folks.
How about you promoting Cluck from our comic?
I can just imagine this is how you guys started riffing off each other when you take each other out to lunch. You're just like, oh man, the Clucks. I can reminisce you about that. Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of people of exhibitors who've gone to the cons. Like, please don't ever sit us next to those guys again.
Look, they won't shut up. They just keep talking.
Even the quiet one's an asshole.
And it's funny because Chris and I will do this though. Like we had this, we did this thing once, and we never really got into it. But it was like I don't think we called it downtime, but it was when you have Batman sitting on a rooftop all night. It's like, what is he actually doing? He has to eat at some point in the night. He can't just he has to pack a snack or something. So it was these ideas of what do these superheroes do in their downtime? he has to sit on top of a roof or like on the gargoyle and eat a sandwich. Like he just has to, and like, you know, pull up his mask a little bit. And like, you know, he has to be dark and brooding, but he has to find some time to like eat his crackers for the night, or he's not gonna have enough calories to like punch people in the face. And the same thing for like
power bars.
Yeah, it's power bars. I'm sorry, more protein.
And Gatorade, damn it, and Gatorade.
Yeah. So it's probably easy for you guys to come up with like weird ideas like that.
I think we just did. That's our next strip.
Yeah, there you go. Done. I always had this like really this idea for like, you know, Flash is so fast. Obviously, I'm the DC fan, and Chris is the Marvel fan. But I always had this idea for like Flash. You know, he's so fast, and then he has to like take his lunch break at work one day, and he has to like go to the DMV, and the line is like out the door, and he has to like watch on the TV. I don't know, like something's happening that he has to like go save, but he has to like be at the DMV that day, so he has to wait in line, and he's the fastest man alive. So it's like just stuff like that I think about.
I think that's pretty much how a lot of the damn hero stuff comes together. It's just us screwing around at a con, or you know, whatever. But yeah. It probably was a lot easier when we go out to lunch and just throw ideas back and forth, and we had more time. But yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, now like the best we have is like we have like a shared Google Doc that it's like, hey, here's an idea. Okay, well, what if we do this? What if we do this?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, are you wearing
we're
an orange
state
power
away.
ring?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, he's got his orange power ring on.
Please show that to the camera.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah.
I actually built a little Lego kit holder for them.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that is
man.
next level stuff. You're not allowed.
like, during the-
You're not allowed to call anybody a nerd after that because
Yeah.
that's awesome. Built it with Legos.
Dude, I have Wayne.
Gentlemen, with me,
and I don't
with me on the count of 3.
yeah, right. Oh
Here
man,
we go.
Dude, I have freaking unicorn meat. Come
yeah. I don't know how that-
My home is Nerd Mecca, or like a brand Think Geek somewhere.
Yeah, your home is a Think Geek store for sure. Yeah,
My
Chris
wife-
and I have this.
Or has demanded that it only stays within my little office area. But like it's been kind of slowly encroaching in the living room because she's a nerd too. She's just not as open about it as I am.
She doesn't want the public to see. She's like, no, keep
Well,
it
she like
cool.
wear her Star Trek socks, wear a Star Trek T-shirt. I want like a Star Wars mural in the living room. She's like, no.
That's the line. That's where the line gets drawn.
Oddly, I imagine you having a large mural of Vigo instead.
Hey, Vigo!
Is Vigo!
And she's gonna watch that movie more than I do.
Yeah, I do appreciate the
been a bad
Spaceballs
monkey.
T-shirt that you're wearing.
Thank you.
The we ain't found shit. It's one of my favorite parts of Spaceballs.
And little nerd fact, that's Tuvok who does that line
Really?
from Voyager. Yep, Tim Russ.
No way.
Yes, indeed. In
I-
fact, I just want to warn him if I'm ever at a show that he's at, that's the first thing I'm going to do when I walk by him. We ain't found shit.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on most of the stuff here. I don't know if I have anything else. What about you, Chris? You got anything else?
No, I mean, if you guys just want to pimp where everyone can find you.
Yeah. Alex is usually hanging out in the corner of. Oh wait, sorry.
Everyone
In
knows
between
that.
a Lego set and a power ring or power battery set.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The pink pumps look particularly fetching.
I've been doing yoga.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can always go to waywardraven.com. Our shop's there. We've got a lot of all the books, so everything from Horseman, Ascendant, signed, as well as is the new issue Infusion up yet, or are we waiting until?
I kind of sort of started putting it together for us to put on our site. but I think we don't want to release any of that stuff until after San Diego.
Yeah.
Unofficially,
Okay.
it's going to be there. Officially, after San Diego.
You can get the committee there also, which I think was one of the books I didn't mention, but we will have the committee issue 2. So yeah, that's James Emmett's book that we publish and edit.
And
in fact, I'm trying to afford
all those books you talked about that are going to be at San Diego. Are those going to be available on the website?
Yes. Yeah. So anyone, so if you can't get it from San Diego, you can go right to our website. Or the other nice thing is with Signed, we're actually going through Ingram to do the distribution. So it is something that will be in local bookstores, that sort of stuff. So, definitely something that if it's not at your store, you could go into them and ask them for it because they can't order directly from Ingram.
So to summarize, though, what Mark is trying to say, if there's anything from us you want, waywardraven.com is the place to find it. There's links to all of our social media. So whenever, like for instance, when Committee to Infusion and the Sign Trade are all available, we're going to put that up on our site in some fashion with links to where you can find it that may or may not be local to you. And we're going to be putting it up on social media. So definitely go to waywardraven.com. All of our social media information is there. And from that point, you can choose, like, I only want to follow you guys on Twitter. Well, then you go find our Twitter there, and then we'll tweet out when the issues are available with links to buy them either. Like, for instance, if something goes on Comixology, we'll tweet out, hey, it's on Comixology. Here's where you find it.
Awesome.
So,
Cool.
Yeah. And then don't forget damnheroes.com, too.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Well, guys, thanks for being on the show. This is awesome. I wish you all the best of luck, especially at San Diego. That's going to be exciting for you. We definitely love to have you back on when you get a few more titles out too to talk about those. I know you don't want to spoil anything now, so we'll do it later.
Cool. We'll be up at Boston too. So if you guys get that way, we'll definitely be there. And then the plan is to be at New York Comic Con as well. So
okay. And Boston Comic Con is late mid-July, right? I think
August.
Second week in August.
Second week in August. Okay. Yeah. San Diego's in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on.
Cool.
And safe travels to San Diego. Have fun.
Thanks, guys. Cool. And we're back. Thanks to those guys.
Hey, yeah. It was an awesome interview.
I think it's the first interview we've had where we got to talk beer.
Yeah. Oh, man. I want to talk about beer all the time. But sadly, this is a comic book podcast. No, I'm sad. No, I'm just kidding.
Podcast. I got it prepped.
Yeah. Awesome.
So let's talk about comics.
Yeah, I guess, the heart and soul of this podcast. You want to talk about After the Gold Rush number 3?
Yes. So we had Miles in the show. Last month?
Yeah.
And he had mentioned that After the Gold Rush number 3 was coming up, and here it is. It's on Kickstarter. You can check out. It's titled After the Gold Rush number 1 through 3 because you can get all 3 issues in the Kickstarter. I checked right before the show. It's already funded, so if you're gonna chip in, you're guaranteed that's funded, and you're gonna get a cool book out of it, or multiple cool books because there's different tiers. You can even get Clovis number 0 or Esper's number 1 with it, or whatever you want to do. So just throwing that out there. He's a great guy. He makes great comics. So check that out on Kickstarter. So speaking of new comics coming out,
oh yes,
this one's right up your alley, and I'm really intrigued by it as well. We got Batman: The White Knight coming out. It's announced for September, and it's written and drawn by Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy, for anyone who doesn't know, he did The Wake with I think it was Scott Snyder, and then he did Tokyo Ghost, which is awesome. It's a really good image book.
Check that book out.
It's like a post-apocalyptic ninja robot, samurai robot thing. So who doesn't want that? But yeah, so I haven't heard anything about this book. This is crazy.
You really haven't? Okay.
No, I haven't heard it. And I checked like comicbook.com and stuff for most of my news, and I didn't see it on there.
So I saw this on I forget the exact place. It was either IGN or comicbook.com. And the synopsis of the story is that the Joker has been cured from whatever makes him insane. So now the Joker is the good guy and Batman is the bad guy. So Joker is the White Knight.
Wow.
It was an interesting little like twist of the story that I would enjoy, and I mean Sean Murphy's art is always great, so I figured that would be a fun book coming up in September.
Yeah, his art. He's got some really neat art. So yeah, I'm excited for that now. That's awesome.
So sticking with DC, they announced recently that there's going to be a manga series coming in Japan called Batman and the Justice League.
So hyped.
And we got some images from it.
Yeah.
All the images look really good. It's kind of weird because they do a really good job of the suits, but then when they do faces, it's still like manga faces.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to appeal to their audience, and it's going to Japan, you know.
Yeah, I'm not dissing on it. It was just kind of it was a weird when I first saw it. I'm like, wow, that looks kind of weird and different.
Yeah.
But super excited. Hopefully this
like Wonder Woman's hair and Superman's hair, and there's a Green Lantern has like the crazy like Super Saiyan hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out for those because I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Aquaman just looks like, I don't know, but I think the only one that looks normal is Flash. Like Flash just looks the same.
That's because, no offense, but we've been staring at Grant Gustin. Grant Gustin for 3-4 years now, and he was already Pretty Boy anime Flash, so...
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yep, you do have a point there. Yeah, so that's exciting. Maybe, and it might even help, like, the numbers in over those countries for the movies and stuff, because, I mean, there really hasn't been... I mean, besides the Bat manga, which came out in early days, but
yeah, Death Mask, I have those.
Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we talked about with Cat last week, like trying to introduce that crowd to our stuff.
Yeah, exactly what we talked about.
So I'm really excited in that sense, just to see like the Japanese crowd and the anime manga crowd kind of get an idea of why we love these characters so much. Hopefully, they stick to kind of the essence of these characters.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it. All right, Mike, sit back and relax. I got the rest of this.
Oh yeah, my favorite part of the show where I get to lay back.
We're talking Marvel Legacy here, people. So
what is this? What is Legacy? Let's hear it.
Man, we've been talking about it for weeks now.
Yeah.
Marvel Legacy is their quote unquote not reboot but reboot. And
the not reboot.
And they announced a bunch of the books along with the numbering that they're going to have on them. So a lot of them are going to their quote-unquote legacy numbering. Some of them don't have a legacy numbering, so they're not really changing. But they announced some of the creative teams and storylines. I'll go through the important storylines, or at least the ones that I care about, and then talk about the writers and artists real quick in each book. So Spider-Gwen, yeah. But Jason Latour is writing it, and it's being drawn by Robbie Rodriguez. Luke Cage... That's going to its legacy numbering, so we're going to come back with Luke Cage number 166. That's going to be written by David Walker and drawn by Nelson Blake. All New Wolverine doesn't have a legacy numbering, so it's sticking. But Tom Taylor's writing that one, and Joan Cabal is going to be drawing it. So that's going to be with Dakin and X-23. Okay, I'm sorry about this one. Falcon number 1 is going to be written by Rodney
Falcon's
Barnes.
Getting his own book?
Yes. And Joshua Cassara. So, to my knowledge, Falcon's never had his own book. So obviously we're going with number 1. Sam Wilson is no longer going to be Captain America. Obviously here, he's rejecting the mantle of Captain America after Secret Empire. So we're going to see him kind of bring back the persona of the Falcon and what he's going to do and trying to move forward with what he was doing as Captain America. So that should be really cool. Incredible Hulk's going back to legacy numbering, so we're going to start that with 709, and that's going to be with Greg Pak and Greg Land. And this is going to be Amadeus Cho Hulk going back to Planet Hulk. So the Return of Planet Hulk will be cool. X-Men Blue 13. Cullen Bunn's on it. George... Is there George or Jorge? Molina. And then X-Men Gold 13 is me and Mark Guggenheim. And there's no artist there.
Mark Guggenheim.
Then we got Invincible Iron Man. Going back to Legacy Numbering. 5.
Guggenheim is from... he's from the Arrowverse.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Guggenheim writes for those TV shows.
Oh, he's writing X-Men now.
Wow.
So yeah, so Iron Man's going back to Legacy Numbering. You got Iron Man 593. This is Brian Michael Bendis and Stefano Caselli. The first story arc is called Search for Tony Stark. So obviously Tony Stark's coming back and Riri's going bye-bye. Defenders number 6, written by Brian Michael Bendis and art by David Marquez. It's continuing the Defenders we've known, but they're adding Deadpool, so yeah, I don't care. The Despicable Deadpool, and this is back to Legacy Numbering as well.
You're gonna put that on your pull list.
Oh god, yeah. And this is gonna be Despicable Deadpool 287, and this is gonna stick with the creative team as well. It's Jerry Duggan and Scott Kolbush. And that is all they have announced for creative teams and storylines so far.
Stay tuned, kids.
Oh, trust me, I'll have more of these awesome lists. That make great podcasting.
Chris loves his lists. Like, when you can put
them.
things in lists.
So, yeah. That's it for news. Mike, what are you reading?
What am I reading? Superman this week. I think it was our first issue without Tomasi on it.
Yeah. How was it? I didn't get a chance to read it.
I mean, it's like a, father-son kind of... There's a really good story between Superman and Superboy, and he's, like, trying to get him to, follow orders, and then he thinks about... to like Pa Kent and him trying to teach him lessons, and they're like, he realizes he was more like Superboy than he thought. It's a really good like father-son bonding issue. As far as like major story arcs, we'll see where this goes. I can't remember what book it was, but I remember in the previews seeing one of the books where Superman is going to get a Yellow Lantern ring, and I think it's the main Superman book.
It was either that or it was one of the Dark Days things.
Maybe. I can't remember which. We'll see where the story goes. I kind of wish Tomasi was still writing it because he's done a great job so far.
Yeah, that was my thing. Is that this issue is going to determine whether I keep getting Superman or not.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it wasn't like it was a good story for Yeah. It wasn't a Frankenstein's Bride kind of story, but it was still pretty good. I'm wondering where Tomasi's going to go now after this. So I might just drop this book for wherever Tomasi goes.
Well, he is writing Super Sons.
So oh, that's right. Yeah, he's still doing that. But he could still do 2 books, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, what do I got over here?
Oh, he's going to file people.
Walking Dead, I read. Oh yeah, Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, that was a good issue this week. They tried to end it. You almost can't end every issue on a cliffhanger. This one was kind of like an uneventful end. Like it wasn't like a and then the issue ends. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of just like eh. But a lot of people were questioning why Rick was. Letting Negan help out, and
yeah, it was a lot of like, Rick, what are you doing in this issue?
Yeah, Rick, what are you doing, Rick? And he's basically like, I'm Rick, don't question me. Yeah, but I think we're sensing that people are finally getting sick of Rick, and I think all these attempts at his life are it's going to lead up to like him dying. I think it's bound to happen. What issue number are we on?
169.
Yeah, so I'm going to call by issue 200 Rick's dead.
I would bet that 200 would be the one. Of course, I called for that at 100, and I called for it at 50, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I think you get another solid, like, 40-something issues, 30-something issues out of him. but yeah, Rick is just not interesting to me anymore. I mean, he's losing limbs left and right. Everybody's getting sick of him. He's kind of turned into a dick. He's kind of got like full of himself.
I did really like the scene between him and Dwight.
Yeah, where he was just an asshole to Dwight.
Yeah, well, where Dwight's like kind of like, I'm taking over and blah blah blah, and then
and he's like, no, you're not.
Fuck you. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. And yeah, so they're finally going to, Eugene told Rick that he's been talking to another community. Rick talks to the community, and now they're finally going to go meet up with this community, and hopefully start meeting up with other communities as well. So,
yeah, that was the other thing. Is it's definitely the start of trying to make this story more nationwide, because they said that the community was in Ohio. Yeah,
and I'm almost positive that they're going to incorporate that character we met from that we met from who the hell wrote that? Brian K. Vaughan. Remember he wrote that issue?
Oh,
so maybe we'll finally see what happened to that character. But yeah, that was a good issue. And I think that's all I had this week. Yeah. Yep.
That is all you had? So you didn't read Jupiter's Legacy 2, number 5?
I didn't get that. That's weird. Huh. No, I didn't get that in my... Oh, man. Well, I'm going to have to contact my... I think what happened with Jupiter's Legacy was I might have taken off my pull list because I thought it was over. So... yeah.
So this is the stunning conclusion of Jupiter's Legacy number 2. Really good. Check it out. All I will tell you is that there's another book coming called Jupiter's Requiem.
Damn.
But the way it ends deserves another book.
Really?
Yes. Avengers number 9, Mark Waid doing this one. They're touching upon where Thor is during all this, the mighty Thor, during all this Secret Empire stuff. And she's in a parallel dimension, fighting monsters. It was really cool. I love the art. It's Mike Del Mundo. He did the art for Weird World during Secret Wars. A lot of fun.
I'm sorry, Batman came out this week as well.
Mike's well talking about Batman.
Yeah, so it's weird though. I had to read it online because I didn't get it in my pull list. Yeah. I'll have to get back. I can't remember what happened right now because I'm so disoriented about where my comics are.
Did Batman punch some people in their turkey necks?
Yeah, he was punching people in the turkey necks. No, it was almost like he was hanging out with Selena in this issue and like reflecting on a lot of things. It was a heavy issue kind of. It wasn't a whole lot of punchy stuff.
Okay. Next, I got Star Wars 33. Yes, we're up to 33. So Luke and Leia get stranded on this planet that has one island on it, and the rest is water. And they assume that they're stranded and there's no like intelligent life, but they find out there is, and that the Empire is attacking them. So there's a big sequence at the end where they have no blasters, really nothing. All they have is bows and arrows and a lightsaber, and they have to fight AT-AT.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then they tease that the next issue is going to be a Lando issue. Yeah, Star Wars is still a ton of fun.
Good, as it should be.
My pick of the week this week was Unholy Grail number 1.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That looked pretty sweet.
So here it is. It's a dark retelling of the Sword and Stone, and basically it's that King Arthur had more of a bloody rise to power, and going through all the things that went through that. So Merlin is actually a demon who stole the body of an old man.
Awesome.
And then what else do they go through? Oh, like they're trying to find the sword, and they can't find it. They keep finding random swords, so they keep throwing them into this ocean or this lake. And there's some sort of lady in the lake there.
Yeah, the lady in the lake.
Yeah, and
That's her name.
that was her name. Okay.
Yeah, lady in the lake. There's some sort of lady in the yeah. That's her name.
And she gives him an offering that's going to bring him to the Holy Grail, but it's not, what we think it is. It's a lot of really good. The art's okay in it. It's nothing to like brag about, but it's readable. But the story itself has me intrigued. Like the idea of a kind of bloody retelling of that story, and the idea that he didn't just walk in and be like, "I have a Grail, now I'm king."
Yeah.
Instead, he really had to fight his way there. And that's other than that, I read the Wayward Raven stuff this week. All good
Yeah, I
stuff.
did. I got it. I downloaded that stuff. I got to read it too. So
Yeah, we talked about them during the interview, but Signed was pretty fun. Whoever did the art for Signed, I forget who it is now, but they like drawing naked women. I'll tell you that much. And Horseman was really good. It's a sci-fi telling of the Horseman, where the enemy is these people that are trying to take away all color from the universe, which sounds a lot like Pleasantville, but it's much more badass than that. That's all I got.
awesome.
So, Mike, we're at the end of the show. Where can people find you?
At Ricker621 on Instagram.
There it is,
For you.
people. So you can find me at Fortress News Chris on Instagram, Fortress Chris on Twitter, or FortressComicNews.com, and also Facebook.com/FortressComicNews. If you're watching this on YouTube, please take the time to like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Talk in the comments. If you're listening on iTunes or any of those, reviews, 5-star, 4-star, 1-star. I don't care. I want reviews. All this stuff helps us get to more ears and grow the show, so we appreciate it. And for Fortress Comic News, I'm Chris, and that's